Math 76, Lesson 23, Fraction Manipulatives, Part 1. So, manipulatives are just physical objects that we use to manipulate and show mathematical truths. Should be sent in, or I should have sent all of you home with one of these, or actually I believe there's 3 of them. We're only going to use the first one in today's lesson. Let me focus this. There we go. Okay. It's activity master with halves, fourths, and eighths, and what we have here are 3 circles broken into halves, fourths, and eighths. And we're going to use these manipulatives to answer questions that our textbook will give us. So, for example, one of the first questions they ask is what percent of a circle is 1/2 of a circle? So we can use our manipulatives or a reference, and we can see, hey, 1/2 of a circle is 50% of a circle. Another way we could do that is if we look at the fourths. If we draw this in half, we see each fourth is 25%. 25 plus 25 adds up to 50%, which is half of a circle, or 50%. So if we want to know what percent half of a circle is, we can see it's 50%. Then we can also ask that, like another question they'll ask is what fraction is 1/2 of 1/2? So the way that this will work is, I'm debating as whether or not I'm going to give you each 2, but the way you're supposed to take these manipulatives is you're supposed to cut them all out of the paper. So you've got a bunch of shapes like this, right? And we'll go ahead and turn this over so we've got some white space to work on. They ask what fraction is half of 1/2. So when they say 1/2, they're talking about this piece right here. They want to know how much is half of that. So if we're going to take this piece and cut it in half, what size fraction will we have? Well, we can take our other pieces and we can test this. So if I put 1/8 on here, that is not 1/2 of a half. But if we put 1/4 on here, that is definitely 1/2 of a half. And then we can prove it by putting 2 1/4s, and 2 1/4s are the same size as 1/2. So half of 1/2 is 1/4. Okay, so that's how you'd be using your manipulatives, is to answer problems like that. So some of them can be worded a little strange, especially when you have multiple fractions in a sentence, like what fraction is half of 1/4? Well, then we take the 1/4 and we take the smaller wedge, which is 1/8. We put it over that. It looks like it's about half. I'm not sure, so I'll go ahead and take another eighth of a circle and I'll test that. I'll put them together. All right, and 2/8 are the same as 1/4, so half of a fourth is 1/8. And then they have other instructions, like for example, one of them says fit 4 1/8 pieces together to form 4/8 of a circle. 4/8 of a circle is what percent of a circle? So I'm going to take 4 of these pieces, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to put them all together. Let's see here. And 1, 2, put them all together nice and neatly. They want to know what percentage of a circle 4/8 is. Well, I can either add up all 4 of these percents, 12.5 plus 12.5 plus 12.5 plus 12.5, or I can compare it to other shapes I know. Like for example, I can see they're the same size as 1/2, and I already know 1/2 is 50%. So 4/8 is equal to 50% of a circle. That's it for this lesson. If I have not given you manipulatives for some odd reason, send me a Moodle message. Let me know any manipulative problems in this lesson. You get a free pass on if I have not given them to you yet. So if I have not given you these papers, absolutely send me a message to let me know, and we'll make sure that we're all caught up. Other than that, if you have any other questions, feel free to message me on the school's website, and I will see you in class.